Unacademy. Let's crack it.
So, आप सभी का स्वागत है अनअकैडमी में। जैसा कि आप सभी को पता है कि यूपीएससी सिविल सर्विस एग्ज़ाम का जो रिज़ल्ट है 2019 का जो एग्ज़ाम का रिज़ल्ट है वो आपका अनाउंस हो गया है। और इस एग्ज़ाम में देखा जाए तो इंडिया का वन ऑफ द टफेस्ट एग्ज़ाम है और इस एग्ज़ाम में रैंक लाना बहुत ही एक हम कह सकते हैं कि एक डिफ़िकल्ट टास्क है, एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है। और हमारे साथ है वेंकटेश प्रभु, जिन्होंने 751 रैंक उन्होंने स्कोर किया। और बेस्ट पार्ट ये है कि उन्होंने इंडियन फॉरेस्ट सर्विस जो एग्ज़ाम है उसको 2018 में ऑलरेडी उन्होंने क्लियर किया हुआ है। अब ये एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंजिंग, आप सभी लोग जानते हो कि बहुत बड़ा एक चैलेंज होता है। चैलेंज इसलिए होता है क्योंकि अगर आप इतनी बड़ी चीज़ पहले आपने अचीव कर ली और उसके बाद आप फिर भी एस्पायर कर रहे हो कुछ अचीव करने के लिए, बहुत बड़ी बात है। So first of all, I will like to congratulate Mr. Vengatesh Prabhu for scoring this rank, and this is a small message from our Unacademy family for you. So first of all, congratulates for your achievement. It would have been a dream come true for you and your family. Also, this journey has embarked a new beginning and in your life. And again, I would take this moment to congratulate you and your family, to welcome you to the Unacademy family. So,
Thanks a lot.
Yes, Venkatesh, my first question, very simple question. When you saw your name in the PDF, what was your reaction? What was your reaction?
It was like a dream come true, because every aspirant want his name to be in that dream PDF of UPSC results. So each time, not only the final results, each time it was like a dream come true. Like in prelims, in mains, in interview, it is a mix of expectations and reality, and everything that you dream for coming into reality. So it is a kind of a new experience. I guess not only for me, it is a dream come true for everyone.
Oh yes, yeah, that is true. That is true. So Venkatesh, like you have already cleared Indian Forest Service exam and you scored 88th rank. So what motivated you to again push yourself? Like in your surrounding, many will say, it's enough. You are, giving civil service exam again. You have achieved so much, such a big thing you have achieved. You will become, because Indian Forest Service is also a all India service.
Yes.
So what actually motivated you? What actually motivated you to to go for the civil service again to crack this exam?
Yes. IFS was also my second choice, because if not IAS, I would always a dream was to become IFS, if not IAS. So since I'm from agriculture background, I had taken agriculture as an undergraduation subject out of choice. That it is not out of chance, it is out of choice that I have taken agriculture as a graduation subject, because I love to be with nature. So if not IAS, I always dream of becoming an IFS. So after clearing IFS, and that too I got my home cadre, many people had envisioned me to stop right here with IFS, since you had got your home cadre also. But I like to serve on a bigger stage and not to narrow it down to a particular stream. So I believe IAS is more of a broader spectrum than spectrum of opportunities than IAFS. So this motivated me to go for IAS again.
Okay. So agriculture optional, we can say it's a kind of a rare option. When you talk with the students, they will even when you will talk with the topper, they will suggest you either go for geography, polity, or this. So agriculture, like first of all, why you thought to take this optional agriculture, and second is what was your strategy? The question that comes in our mind is whether you need to have biology background to opt for agriculture, or even if I have done biology, like till I took biology for 11th, and in 11th and 12th standard I can go for agriculture. So what was your strategy related with agriculture, and why you opted for agriculture as an optional? What was your strategy?
When I come to the preparation at the end of 2015, like everyone choosing their optional. I always believed that I had to go with agriculture. There was not a second thought. I always had in mind that my optional will be agriculture. During the my graduation also, I had started preparing for IAS, UPSC examinations. So I always believed that agriculture is where I can score my best. Like even there was always never a second thought to opt any other subject. But since I had opted agriculture, and everyone asking why agriculture, why not anthropology, why not political science, which has higher scope of getting marks. I always believe that my expertise will be because since I had already mentioned, agriculture was my choice for undergraduation. So I had a crush towards agriculture. So agriculture was always my option. And the preparation strategy, the preparation was was not parallel with what I had studied in undergraduation. It was completely opposite, because what we study in college is not a practical thing, but what UPSC asks in UPSC agriculture optional is completely practical. It was never theoretical in any question. So the strategy was to get expertised in all the subjects practically and not just theoretically. So I had gone back to the standard books to get expertise on each and every chapter. So I had prepared some 1,500 papers of notes for my optional. So that helped me in a lot, because I never went back to the reference subjects, reference books. So I always had my notes with me. So that had helped me in last mains also, because I had went for interview last year for civil service, in which year I have got IFS also, IFS rank list. So in that year I got 290 in agriculture optional. So it had helped me a lot, my notes. That is, take your own notes. That was my strategy.
Okay, so what do you think? Like with means those students with biology background, they can only take agriculture, or even like normal students, they can also opt for agriculture.
Yeah, that is a common question that people tend to ask. But think of in this sense, those with geography background, those without geography background choose geography as an optional. Those without political science background had chosen political science optional. Like the same thing, agriculture can be taken by anyone, because like any other optional, it is also it has confined syllabus, and you have to prepare for that syllabus. So not only that the biology students, not only the people with the science background has to choose agriculture. Agriculture, as like any other optional, can be taken by anyone and can be scored big in UPSC examinations.
Okay, so एक बहुत important message है सारे students के लिए कि जो students agriculture optional लेना चाहते हैं, काफी scoring subject भी है ये. So अगर आपका bio background नहीं भी है तब भी काफी help करेगा. Even जो paper 1 अगर आप देखोगे तो geography से काफी related, और paper 2 अगर है तो वहाँ थोड़ा बहुत biology है जो आप पढ़ सकते हो. So Vengatesh, can you suggest few books related with this agriculture that we should read? Must book that we should read. Can you suggest those few books? Yeah.
There are standard books such as for agronomy. There are like any other optional. There are certain subjects. So like agronomy, for agronomy there is a book named Elemanda Reddy, Principles of Agronomy. And for breeding and genetics there is Fundan Singh book and BD Singh book, which can be referred for breeding and genetics. And for horticulture there is a book called N. Kumar, which can be referred for horticulture subject. And for soil science there is D.K. Das. These are the standard books that can be referred for preparing notes for agriculture optional.
So can we go for some notes, coaching notes? Is there available? So can we go for notes or some books which carry, any book which carry the notes in precise that we can read?
Yeah, there are notes available for agriculture also. But what I thought was that those were crude knowledge, that is not a refined one. I always prepared notes with question papers, like last 15 to 20 years question paper on my table. I always prepared, went on to see those question papers and then take notes. every day I go through the question paper, and then only I take notes, because those notes which are available in market are crude knowledge. You cannot obtain a refined one out of those notes. So this was my strategy: go through the question paper and see what are the important questions that are asked before, what are the important chapters that are there, and which are the questions that are repeatedly asked. So every day when I prepare notes, I go through the question papers first.
Okay, that's a very good strategy. So let's start with the prelims strategy. Like when you start your preparation for UPSC prelims. So what was your strategy relating to the prelims? And can we differentiate between prelims and mains? Okay, presently I'm preparing for prelims. I will prepare mains later on, or we have to take a convergent approach. Like we have to carry prelims and mains both. So what is your opinion regarding this?
My preparation was always on a convergent note, not to differentiate prelims. The fact that interview, my notes that I have prepared for prelims had helped me in interview also. So not to differentiate between any stage of the process in UPSC examination. So my preparation strategy was for prelims and mains point of view. I had taken a newspaper as my main source of knowledge. So I would take notes for in the sense GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, because that syllabus, prelims does not have a confined syllabus, but mains has. And most of the topics that we prepare for mains has got a major chunk of questions in prelims also. So I used to take GS1, 2, 3, 4 as the booklets, and I would take every notes from newspaper and differentiate on these aspects. So every year I would get around 200 to 250 A4 sheets of content and knowledge out of newspaper. So newspaper was my primary source of knowledge, and as usual, standard books like Lakshmikant.
So you studied how many newspapers? Like which newspaper you studied?
Mostly two, the Hindu and the Indian Express. These are the two major sources that I would refer to. Mm-hmm. And for particularly to prelims, previous year question paper was a major help to me, because I couldn't crack prelims in my first and second attempt, but in third attempt I could clear my IFS cutoff. That is majorly because I concentrated on previous year question paper in my third attempt. So that was a major help to me. That was major help to me. So previous year question paper and with standard books and newspaper is my strategy to clear UPSC examination.
Okay, very good. So again, let me inform every student, ये चीज आप ध्यान से देखो कि UPSC जो लास्ट ईयर के जो प्रीलिम्स के पेपर हैं उसको आपको जरूर से करना चाहिए. That is again very important, as suggested by Vengatesh. So Vengatesh, hello. Yes, Vengatesh, let's start with yes, Vengatesh, let's start with GS paper 4. So in GS paper 4, every topper says that there is a huge opportunity to score high, but the issue is that GS paper 4 somehow face kind of discrimination. We give more focus to GS 1, 2, 3, but hardly we focus on GS paper 4. So like how you balance that? Like you focused on GS paper 4, and what was your source?
On GS paper 4, I for GS4 and essay, I had a separate preparation for these two, because we can score high in these two particularly, because in GS1, 2, and 3 there is scope of getting average and above average marks, but in ethics and essay we can excel. So GS4 has a separate preparation strategy for according to me, and the major source for theory part is as usual lexicon book, which is favored by most. So for theory there is my major source, and for practicals I used to go through the case studies of each year question paper. So, and I used to think in diversified manner of how to approach this question. So for every question I had a diversified view. So that helped me in case studies also.
Okay. So there is also one doubt among the students, like for case study purpose only, whether we should go for a practical approach. Like when I'm talking about the practical aspect, means certain administrative relevance steps, means which we can implement in the administration. Such approach, whether we should follow while we are solving the case study, or we should go for an ideal approach.
Yeah.
There is an ideal approach, and there is a practical approach. So what is your suggestion regarding this? Like what should we do, and how should we approach case studies?
My approach was always a practical approach, but the thing is, you couldn't confuse if your case study has 6 to 7 questions, you couldn't confuse between 3 questions for ideal approach and 3 questions for practical approach. If your approach is practical, go for practical approach in all 6. If your approach is ideal, go for ideal approach in all 6, because like in the last year question paper, almost every question a similar view of answering. But the thing is, the question is asked in a way that you could change your mindset according to the question. So your mindset has to be the same for all the questions. If you change your mindset in one question and contradict that with the other question, that is where you lose marks, I guess. So always follow a same approach and same mindset in approaching all the questions.
Yes. This is a very good point. And let's come to GS paper 3. So in GS paper 3 for economy, we have the sources of some books we can read. We can also balance with the current affairs. There are some issues related with the sources that we should follow. There are certain sources like, for example, certain area module we can say, science and technology, internal security, and this border management, disaster management, border management. So what was your approach regarding these things, these untouched sections in general, we can say? Because in GS paper 3 also, we focus mainly on economy, or somehow we tend to include science and technology, but we ignore these things, internal security, cyber security, border management and all. So what was your strategy related to GS paper 3?
GS paper 3, since my option is agriculture, and agriculture in GS is in GS3, in mains is in GS3. I had concentrated specifically for GS3 because if anything that I have my agriculture with agriculture as an optional, my advantage is in GS3 to score above others in the mains examination.
Yeah.
So I had with economics, as usual, as you had said that we have notes readily available. But GS3 is more of a dynamic subject than GS2 and GS1, because GS2 and GS1 has many static topics, but GS3 is more dynamic compared to other papers. So current affairs was my major source of knowledge for these GS3 questions. So as I had said for optional, previous year question paper has helped me in preparing current affairs notes for all these dynamic topics, because static ones we can get points anywhere in either in standard books or through browsing, but we can excel getting more marks. So for each topic I had prepared some facts and ready-made charts and graphs for these subjects that had helped me a lot in GS3 also.
So any book that you can suggest for GS paper 3, like for these sections, or we can go for notes or for current affairs only?
I went with current affairs because we can with prelims preparation we can give those static parts GS3, but with current affairs we can fine tune those static answers. So current affairs was my major source for GS3 in particular.
Okay, so for current affairs, what was your source? Like as you told that you used to read, I think, Indian Express and The Hindu. So what was your approach and strategy? Like many students, they take 4 hours to read only The Hindu. You have to balance your whole schedule for the day. So what was your approach related to current affairs, and how to prepare the notes? That is the biggest challenge that a student face.
My strategy with taking notes for current affairs newspapers in particular is a kind of kind of unusual, because I used to I used to underline the words in the newspaper daily, go through the newspaper and underline the important topics. And on Sunday, I would prefer to be free out of away from these. So I would take the 6 days newspaper and take notes on Sunday. That would be somewhat a relief after the 6 days hard work, and I would take notes and browse through the net. Basically, I like to browse. So and also each news is repeatedly coming in newspaper. So I would get a consolidate point after a while, like 6 days. So I would take a consolidated notes on the 7th day, that is Sunday. So it's kind of unusual, but it had worked for me.
It worked. It worked. Again, reading newspaper is again important, and this may also happen. Like, for example, on Monday you are reading a particular news. On Tuesday again it will be repeated. On Wednesday some addition will be there, and on Sunday what you can do, you can just complete that one topic, write down the note, one topic completed.
Exactly,
so
exactly what
very important. This is again very important because Vengatesh, let me inform you that I am taking the Hindu analysis on Unacademy only. So I have been taking the Hindu analysis since like 1.5 years. So this is again very important when I analyze the questions which again like they come in exam. So I find that the static topics derived from the current affairs, they are asked either in GS paper 1, 2 or 3. So we have to take current affairs very seriously. And what happens that student tends to confused with the current affairs related with other exam. Like if you are reading current affairs for other exam, they think that they are doing they can do the same, they can read the current affairs in a similar sense in for UPSC also. I think what your suggestion regarding this? Is it a good idea?
My view is that we can say UPSC is mother of all examination, but you have to prepare separately for each examination.
Yes,
so yes. UPSC is a whole lot. What to say? In a broader way, we have to. People say the sun is needed for UPSC. I highly contradict that view, because there is a confined syllabus for everything. Even many of us, even me before 2-3 years, didn't know there is a syllabus. There is a syllabus for interview also. So we have and this is the point of contact between UPSC, which is question papers. These two things will help us narrow down the view of preparing notes and to read for UPSC preparation. So my major source of getting into contact with UPSC is to question paper and previous papers and syllabus. So confined to the syllabus of UPSC, people tend to take every possible point in the newspaper and take notes. This is not needed. You have distinguished between which article comes under which chapter in the syllabus. So if that can be distinguished, you can reduce the reading time also by a bigger margin.
Yes. So let's move to GS paper 2. So for quality and governance, the sources that one source every student follows, that is Lakshmikant. But do you think that Lakshmikant covers the governance aspect as well? Like when we see these polity questions, application based questions are asked. Like in polity in general, if you talk about the prelims, the question related to certain articles or some power related to prime minister, speaker, or some constitutional article, this way, such type of question you can see in prelims. But when you come to mains, the in general, if you see the paper, the application based question are asked. We can say the application of polity or constitution in general. So what was your approach related to such topics, mainly with the governance aspect? So what was your approach about it?
For governance, I have followed a specific book written by Karthikeyan. That was my source for governance. That is a much less read book, but it helped me a lot in governance preparation, because it contained practical aspects to the questions that were asked. And also there is separate chapter for separate section for how to answer these practical based questions. And we have a knowledge on by going through Lakshmikant, we have knowledge on facts about every chapter, such as governor, president, and all governance related questions. But giving it a practical view is what needed. And also with the current affairs, we can add dynamic aspects to those aspects. Because if there is a question on governor and the powers of governor, depending on the some of the we can add those power those as an example for the powers that is the power of the government relating to the state government and the legislature aspects. So if there is a contemporary thing going on with that particular power of governor, I would relate it to my answer. So that would help me a lot in practically giving an answer for a governance question. Because most people think that GS2 is more static and we have to give articles and the schedules and other things, but giving it a contemporary view is what is more needed according to me for GS2.
Yes, yes. Even for the IR, we can say we have to follow the same approach. So
Hello.
International relation also certain basic knowledge is required. But again,
Hello.
Yes, yes. Vengatesh. Yes. For the.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, yes, Vengatesh.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, for international relation also we have to follow the some practical approach only. Certain issues going on at in international arena, either related with South China Sea. Certain issues are required.
Exactly.
So static knowledge is also required. So what was your we can say for the international relation?
Yeah.
There is one very small question from students also. Can we link international relation, internal security, border management topics? Is it possible? Like the sources when you talk about, for example, when you are reading India-Bangladesh relation, or when you are reading topics related to India-China, so we can also work on these topics, like, or we can say we are reading about India-Myanmar. So we can also work on these aspects related to border management. Some questions can be asked on the border management, or some questions can be asked on internal security. So these type of linkages, is it possible? Shall we follow such approach?
That approach is much needed, because though there is a specific syllabus for GS3, the questions are based on those specific aspects in the. I find some GS3 question coming randomly in GS1. So they also they also require an answer which is not specific to the international relation aspect in particular. So I believe that there is no when it comes to preparation, there is we need a holistic aspect, and also during answer writing there is a holistic answer needed, because you have to give a diversified point of view. So as you said, in international relations, border management and internal security points can be prepared and can be given at the same time in answers also.
Yes, yes, yes. So let's move to the GS paper 1. And in GS paper 1, there are many static aspects like history you have. So many students, when they start to prepare for UPSC, they start with history, or they will pick geography. And for many months, they will study these two subjects.
Yeah.
They will read many books related to history, 4, 5, 10. Some will recommend go and buy this book. They will go and they will buy that book. So what was your strategy related to history? Means history, how you approached for the history? Mainly Indian history also and world history also.
Luckily, the thing is, my roommates in when I stayed in Chennai was one with the geography optional and one with history optional. So I never went back to any books for mains preparation to history or geography. They will teach me each chapter in history and geography. So this means that rather than going to a shell for UPSC preparation, there is you should have a core group which shouldn't be of 5 to 10 like that. It shouldn't be. It should be a core group of 2 to 3 who can help you in this. So for history and geography, I have referred no books. The only preparation strategy for me is to be with friends, and they teach me all about history and geography.
And they must have shared their notes also, history and geography.
Yeah, everything. They shared everything, history and geography with me.
So in this interview, would you like to take their name?
One is Gokul Kalishwaran.
Yeah.
He prepared for geography in his initial years of preparation, so that had helped me. And other one is Bharat. He had prepared for history optional, so he helped me a lot in history preparation.
So this is a very important message for all the students. Do focus on group study. Although we can say कि Corona का जो era है, in this Corona era you can change the way the interaction used to happen. You can use these apps. There are many apps, so you can select one day and you can prepare. You can discuss certain issues. You can share notes. All these things can be done. Vengatesh, again there is a very small question related with CSAT. So
Yeah.
I think for those students who are from science background or technical background, it is very easy for them to to score to easily clear that cutoff related with GS paper 2, or we can say CSAT in prelims.
Yeah.
So whether you did any specific preparation related to CSAT, or just solved the last year paper and gave the exam?
Actually, my strategy for CSAT is I am from my school days I was fond of solving aptitude questions, and English comprehension is one of my strong topics. So I used to score 154 and 145 in CSAT without any major preparation strategy, because these things comes naturally for me, because I used to do this on a daily basis. And the thing with me is whenever I go to write an examination, I used to do complex multiplication and division stuff before my exam. So before the exam, like if you go for prelims at 10 o'clock, I'll be solving, going to the center, and I'll be solving at 9:45 some these multiplication and complex division stuff, and that helps me in a from the first question I can be in my A game at my first question itself. So that keeps my brain at a faster pace. So these things comes naturally for me, but I have seen people who had stumbled at CSAT, though taking like 140, and I have even seen people getting 150 in CSAT and couldn't write mains. I have seen those people too in my UPSC journey. So my advice is not to take CSAT as easy as it gets. So it is a major trembling block for for any aspirant. So take CSAT seriously, and going with previous year questions is of major help, because there are some comprehension questions which had repeated years back. So my strategy for those who are in science background like me, I belong to a science background. Like in 11th and 12th, I was a science student, and agriculture I have taken. That is also a science stream where maths and aptitude is of nowhere. So my strategy for this to practice as many questions as possible, previous year question paper, and also practice repeatedly, not just take a question paper, practice it on January and February, and leave it for June to write the examination. Do it repeatedly, because that question luckily can repeat again.
Yes. So again, you must be aware that next prelims will be there on maybe on October 4. So what is your message to all the aspirants who are watching you? And I think you have shared all your strategies related to all the papers and also about your optional. So what is your message to all the aspirants during this Corona era? Because again, the students might be having some, you can say, certain pressure related to what will happen, whether exam will, exam will be conducted or not. And there are certain other things as well in this Corona era. So what is your, you can say, message to all these students? And what is your opinion regarding switching to, or we can say, using this digital technology in your preparation? Like we are living in 21st century, which is again a fourth industrial revolution era, or we can say a digital revolution era. So what is your suggestion to these students, how they should motivate themselves, and what is the core of your core thing relating to your experience, which you would like to share with the students, which can act as a motivating words for all these aspirants who are watching you?
First, I like to answer the second part of your question, like the digital platform being of more help these days, because I had advantage of this because I stayed in rural areas of Tamil Nadu, where there is no big institutes where I can go and take classes. So I took many classes through online mode with those institutes in Delhi. So that helped me a lot. So having a digital platform and making full use of it, that had helped me in cracking civil service. That is of major help to me, because for GS2, GS3, I used to take current affairs classes through online mode in Delhi Institute. So that helped me a lot in this. So using a digital platform to your full advantage these days is very must in cracking this examination. So use the digital platform as seriously, and take it as seriously as possible. And coming to the first part of the question, there is so much pressure, especially this time, because prelims is being postponed, and there is a doubt that whether it would happen in October 4th. My belief is that it will happen on the set date, because UPSC has successfully completed the interview process in the last 10 days, the 10 days which had been left. So it had successfully completed that process and had given the results. So my belief is that October 4th will be the examination date, and that is my view. And there is pressure, and my view for overcoming this pressure is that was the day we are preparing for all with all our dream. And on that day, you shouldn't be so much pressurized. You have to be in your A game and with full confidence on that day. That particular day is what we expect, or what we want to be like. It is like another birthday. That day is what we are preparing for. So on that day, you shouldn't be pressurized. You has to be. I people highest in mock test, but not able to clear due to pressure on that 2 hours of the examination. And I have seen people with partial preparation and going with confidence and cracking the examination. I have seen both of these people in my journey. So be in your A game, and be completely confident on that day, because that is the day we are expecting and preparing for all these years. So be confident, and my strategy in this 1.5 to 2 months is revise as much as possible. You would have taken notes, or you would have referred books. Anyway, you have to be revising that again and again, because it shouldn't be on the shadow of your brain when it comes to examination. I have seen this question, but I have prepared this topic, but I couldn't able to answer. That shouldn't be happening on that day. So revise as much as possible. So my strategy is to revise as allot a major chunk of your time for revision as much as possible. That is my strategy in last 2 months.
So thank you, Vengatesh. I think we all have learned a lot from you, the kind of practical approach you have followed in your preparation. So thank you, Vengatesh. So इस पूरे डिस्कशन में जैसा आप लोगों ने देखा कि बहुत सारी इंपॉर्टेंट स्ट्रेटजीज हमने डिस्कस की, एग्रीकल्चर ऑप्शनल हमें कैसे पढ़ना चाहिए, GS 1 2 3 4 और एसए का पेपर है, हर एक एस्पेक्ट को डिस्कस किया. जो एक बेसिक डिफरेंस आता है, वो बेसिक डिफरेंस जो देखने को मिलता है, जो इस एग्जाम को क्लियर कर लेते हैं और जो थोड़े बहुत मार्क्स से कभी रह जाते हैं, जो बेसिक डिफरेंस यही आता है कि हम सोर्सेस क्या फॉलो कर रहे हैं, क्या हम राइट वे में मूव कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं, ये बहुत जरूरी है. तो इसी के लिए आपको जरूरी है कि जहां से भी आप पढ़ें वो सही इंफॉर्मेशन पर बेस्ड हो, साथ में ऐसे पर्सन से पढ़ें जो जिसको अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस हो, जिसने पूरे तरीके से गाइड किया है एग्जाम में, बच्चों को बहुत समय तक गाइड किया है। सो आपके पास मौका है अनअकैडमी से जुड़ने का। यू कैन गो फॉर आइकॉनिक सब्सक्रिप्शन। अगर आप 2020, 21 या 22 की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, बियॉन्ड की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, यू कैन गो फॉर आइकॉनिक सब्सक्रिप्शन। तो इसमें आपको क्या मिलेगा? लाइव क्लासेस है, टेस्ट सीरीज है, अनलिमिटेड प्रैक्टिस है, स्ट्रक्चर्ड शेड्यूल है, पर्सनल कोच है। ये पर्सनल कोच मतलब आपको मेंटर असाइन रहेंगे, डेली मेंस और मेंस का क्वेश्चन और आंसर प्रैक्टिस है, स्टडी प्लानर है और पर्सनलाइज्ड फीडबैक है। सो ये आप 1 ईयर या 2 ईयर्स के लिए ले सकते हैं और यू कैन यूज दिस कोड दैट इज SPLIVE। इस कोड को डालोगे, जो भी अमाउंट होगा इट विल रिड्यूस बाय 10%। और यहाँ पे जितने भी आपके कोर्सेस हैं पूरे साल 2 साल के लिए जितने भी आते हैं वो आप देख सकते हो। तो मतलब अपनी प्रिपरेशन को इस डिजिटल एरा में आपको भी डिजिटल करने की जरूरत है और साथ में अपने पढ़ाई के मोमेंटम में आपको कोई ब्रेक नहीं आने देना चाहिए, ठीक है। सो ये अनअकैडमी जो प्लेटफॉर्म है ये आपकी प्रिपरेशन को बेटर करेगा, प्लान्ड करेगा और साथ में एक जो मोमेंटम चाहिए इस एग्जाम को क्रैक करने का, वो मोमेंटम भी आपको जरूर से मिलेगा। सो थैंक यू एवरीवन। आई होप ये पूरा का पूरा जो सेशन है वो आपके लिए काफी हेल्पफुल रहा होगा। ऐसे हम बहुत सारे डिस्कशन करेंगे। सो थैंक यू एवरीवन एंड लेट्स क्रैक इट।